Welcome in to the DNVR Broncos podcast for our Day 3 recap. What a Day 3 it was.
Ooh, still is.
Still is.
Yeah.
Follow us live as we talk through the 7th round picks. And, of course, presented by Raising Cane's, like all of our draft coverage this offseason. Go to raisingcanes.com or use the mobile app.
Ooh.
Todd got it on the way home.
But did you see Bo Nix this morning?
Also, Bo Nix, a Raising Cane's guy.
Canesman?
Holy cow.
Wow.
Amazing. Also, what a flex from Todd to add us on the tweet.
Yeah.
And then there's the Porsche logo.
Uh-huh.
God.
I always get the Porsche logo in with my canes,
Oh,
too.
I know.
You know what the only thing better than the Porsche logo would be?
Breckenridge Distillery.
No, the Toyota logo.
Toyota
because it's a car. You can't drive Breckenridge Distillery.
That's right. Come one, come all in the Toyota chat. And don't forget Breckenridge Distillery, also presenting sponsor of this here podcast. Hankster. Wow. Fireworks galore. Am I a Sean Payton guy?
I mean, if you weren't a Sean Payton guy, it's good. There are some people out there, some Broncos fans, who are out on Sean Payton.
Oh,
and that is just
on.
the craziest thing to me. It's
Come
like, no,
on.
we can't win. The guys and always. It's like, I mean, they won 8 games last year.
Yep.
You know,
They sure
it's the
did.
most games they've won in like 6 years. 3-win jump from the year before
sure
with no drastic changes to the roster. I don't know. Yeah, if you're out on Sean Payton, you're crazy.
You want to recap what happened today for the people?
I would love to. So the first thing that happened was I woke up and decided to watch more Jonah. Oh, is that not what you're talking about?
No.
First thing the Broncos did was they traded up in the 4th round, drafted Troy Franklin.
Top of the 4th, 101, Jatavion Sanders goes to the Panthers, and I get sad. And then 102, Troy Franklin.
Who was what spot on your board?
Wow. Wide receiver 6.
6th best receiver in the draft.
There was a point in this, so a top 50 prospect for me. There was a point in this draft prospect where Troy Franklin's ascending.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are winning games, so it's feeling like, oh, they're no longer drafting in the top 10. They're more of a 15 to 18 team. Because, you know, we're thinking playoffs by that point.
Yeah, I remember that.
And when we did a draft pod in like December, where I'm talking about Troy Franklin as wide receiver 4 because of how on fire he was and how he'd be a nice dark horse candidate for the Broncos in the 1st round. To get him in the 4th, beyond the Bo Nix connection, I think is just spectacular. A guy who I, as a deep ball threat, as a yak guy, as just a vertical weapon in your offense, I liked a lot more in this draft class than Xavier Worthy, who, of course, was the 5th drafted wide receiver, and the Chiefs moved up to take. I love this pick.
Yeah. No, we're going to dig in with all these individually. I'm really excited about that one in particular. Real quick, though, let's just hit the rest of these. After that, they waited till the 5th round. They traded away one of their 5th rounders, their first one. They traded away a 6th rounder, got a 7th back in that Troy Franklin deal.
Right.
Got Kris Abrams-Draine.
Yes, the
cornerback
Missouri corner.
We've been talking about for a while from Missouri. And then they also, 2 picks later, took Audric Estimé, who is one of the coolest players in the draft. The whole, like, transition to the NFL thing, like, is he fast enough to be an exciting running back in the NFL? Who knows? But there is a lot to love about Audric Estimé. And in terms of just watching highlights, he's awesome. And then real quick, let's just hit on this too.
Super duper young. The kid could not get a Breck Brew at the DNVR Bar.
No, well, I mean,
whoa, Hank. We respect the law around these parts.
We do, but I mean, if Audric
Holy
walked in here,
shit.
I'd find something for him.
Wow.
And
all I'm
that's on
saying
me.
is, Henry, not at the bar. You can walk him up to the office and whatever you guys do behind closed doors. God damn it, Henry, why are you taking me down this road? He's very young, full of upside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very young. Yeah, I think Braylon Allen, the only running back in this draft class who's younger. Yeah.
Crazy.
He's still 20. It's pretty crazy.
Crazy.
And then also traded for John Franklin Myers, a pretty legit defensive lineman. Like, you sign a Malcolm Roach and you're like, okay, if you need this guy too, he could probably start. He might be ready for that step in his career. John Franklin Myers, different conversation. If you're trading for him, he's not only a starter, he's one of your top interior pass rushers, has obviously versatility to play on the edge as well.
Yes.
And you just made this whole rotation make sense where now you're bumping Malcolm Roach to the number 4 spot as rotational guy.
Yep.
Really solves a lot of problems. When they traded for him, it looked like he was going to cost about $14 million this year, about $15 million next year. Immediately renegotiated the trade because apparently this deal's been in the works. Renegotiated the contract. Yep. Deal's been in the works for a few days. He's in Denver. Negotiated the contract all over again. It's 2 years, $15 million. That's a steal. And then before we really dig in, Broncos have 2 picks left.
Yes, sir.
One of them is...
You should mention the compensation for Franklin Myers, a future 6th in 2025.
Yeah, which is a steal. And one of the best ways to know whether a trade is good is to go look at what Jets fans say.
Sure.
They hate it. They can't believe it. They think they made a massive mistake.
Awesome.
So that's always fun. So like I said, the Broncos, 2 picks left. The first one is coming up here. It's pick 135.
235.
Sorry, 235.
We are at pick 228. Are you ahead at all?
233. Oh, Jaheim Bell off the board. Oh, that one kills me. We'll get into who they could pick
to the Raiders. Who do you go to?
The Patriots.
Oh,
at
231.
Page. Patriots 231. Yep.
Oh wow.
Then Levi Drake Rodriguez, whom I have never heard of. Then Nathan Thomas. Apparently the pick is in for the Colts right now. Broncos are on the clock basically. And then so 235 is that pick. Then they also have 256, which I think is the true Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right. The second to last pick of the 7th round.
Everybody talks about the guy everybody calls Mr. Irrelevant.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's the pick before who's really
You
want
to get into these while the Broncos are just 2 picks away?
Well, let's just say, who should they draft here?
Yeah, I like some of the options in the trenches. Big nose tackle from Miami, Leonard Taylor II is still on the board. Of course, we've talked about him a lot. Nugent, the center from Michigan, is still on the board. Dungeon family, Colorado kid. There's also some other decent centers from the Senior Bowl still on the board, like Bo Leemer. Oh, no, Bo Leemer was taken.
He did go, yeah.
Darn. Kingsley Ekuban from Florida is still on the board. And then, it's kind of dried up the options at tight end, but Brevin Spanford from Minnesota, one of the better blocking tight ends in this class. Dallin Holker from Colorado State, a very good receiving tight end. Still in the mix. But yeah, it's, the field's kind of dried up a little bit, Hank. I'm not going to lie. Anyone else stand out to you? James Williams,
James Williams, one of my guys. Gabriel Murphy, one of my guys.
Yes, the edge from UCLA. Gabe Hall,
one of your guys,
interior D lineman, one of Jose's guys as well. From Baylor, still in the mix.
Yep. And Curtis Jacobs, the linebacker from Penn State. Thought he could have gone a long time ago.
That's a good one. What about Braden McGregor, the edge from Michigan? He's still around.
Yeah, that's another one we really like.
So edge rusher, you do have some nice little options. I tell you what, Michael Pratt.
Yep, that's right.
Quarterback from Tulane.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that one would be interesting.
I don't know how you justify it. Yeah.
Xavier Weaver, the wide receiver from Colorado, more of a route runner with decent size, would be a nice little pickup.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the options remaining right now also illustrate how well rounds 4 and 5 went for the Broncos. That was really like time to capitalize. That was a good time to move up, use those extra 5th round picks. Don't have to dip into anything this year to sign Franklin Myers. Give it to us, Henry.
The Broncos are drafting wide receiver Devaughn Vele out of Utah.
Devaughn Vele, wide receiver.
Vele, Vele.
Okay.
I don't know him.
I'm guessing we have some special teams impact. So 6'4", 203, former walk-on with good blend of size and speed. There were some intriguing big targets, and it looks like they went and got theirs. That Utah connection still alive and well here. Long arms, big hands, maybe trap some balls a little too much, and could be a little more aggressive attacking contested balls. But, he's got some of that. Fast enough to threaten vertically. Can't say in a loaded wide receiver class he was a guy that I had really zeroed in on.
Yeah. So, for example, Dane Brugler had his list of 52 favorite receivers. Devaughn did not make that cut.
Oh, wow. Did he not make the beast?
He didn't make the beast.
That's crazy.
Rare.
So this is a deep cut.
This is a deep cut. Let me see.
Which I kind of love.
Oh, yeah.
Like Sean Payton, offensive skill position, deep cut, sign me up.
Yeah.
Ran a 4.47. He was a combine invite.
Okay.
Good vertical and jump. Lance Zierlein had him as a priority free agent. Oh, wow. Will be a 26-year-old rookie.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. I mean, Utah. That'll happen.
I wonder what the background is here.
Yeah.
But anyways, a bigger possession wide receiver. And that's really interesting. You wonder if maybe they want to try to beef him up and use him as more of a converted tight end.
Interesting, yep.
But hard to say before we get to dig into the tape here.
Oh, no. He was number 40. There he is. Priority for
there you go.
Okay. So let me see.
You want to... I tell you what. Raising Cane's real quick.
Raising Cane's.
And then you can give us more on the Broncos' latest draft pick. The first one that I didn't have ranked in my top 110, which tells you how good this draft has been thus far.
From San Diego.
He is a San Diego kid.
Born the same year as me.
Said that.
I believe it.
Whoa, 26? Yeah. Born in the same year as you, too?
1997. Must be tough.
This old dude over here. Raising Cane's, no matter how old you are, you will always feel taken care of with their made-to-order, delicious, tender chicken fingers, Texas toast, the cane sauce. Ooh-wee. You can get a little Arnold Palmer.
You can.
Cane's, they do it all, man. They take care of you. They make it good. It's just some good comfort food. So find one near you or go order, turbocharge your draft time because the Broncos are back. I kind of feel like the Broncos are back. And get yourself some made-to-order chicken fingers. Faster than ever by ordering online, raisingcanes.com or through the mobile app. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. And, of course, Breckenridge Distillery. Go find a store near you. Breck Distillery available in 50 states. Find them at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. Their award-winning bourbon whiskey will blow you away. I've tasted it here at the bar. Just delicious. And they are the official bourbon of the Denver Broncos. I bet you Bo Nix, big Breck Distillery guy as well.
Of course.
In fact, he's probably a classy guy. He probably has some nice Breck Distillery.
Oh, yeah.
Neat or on the rocks?
I don't even know if I'm classy enough to... It's got to be neat.
Neat. That's how you want to do it. Bo Nix style Breckenridge Distillery products available in all 50 states. As I said, shop your local retailer or visit BreckenridgeDistillery.com for home delivery of award-winning Breckenridge spirits. Operates anywhere.
Wow.
Oh, and Xavier Weaver, oh, no, he is not the very next pick. Excuse me. Okay, Henry. Give it to us.
So from San Diego.
Yeah. No, we've said that 3 times.
He wasn't given any stars.
Cool. Walk on.
You would think.
No, I've already given that information.
Eventually, so no stars. Yeah. Wound up with 2 FCS offers: Dixie State, Southern Utah. Dixie State, now Utah Tech.
These are details we do
was
not need
disappointed by those options.
Okay.
Decided to go on a mission.
All right.
Spent 3 years in Samoa on a mission.
That's sick.
Came back. Reached out, tried to find somewhere to walk on. BYU, Utah said that they would let him. Decided to go to Utah. Enrolled. Spent 1 year as a redshirt walk-on. And then was put on scholarship the next year.
Wow.
Yeah, so 2019, no catches, 2 catches 2020. Winds up 389 yards the next year, then 695 and 593. Was honorable mention All Pac-12 in 2022. This year, led the team in receiving, missed 3 games. Not a year when any receiver is going to have much success in that Utah offense.
Right. Backup quarterback playing all season for him.
6'4", 203, 4.47 40-yard dash.
Yep.
Moves well.
Yep.
You know what? It's a very weird pick, but I think the fact that it's weird makes me like it.
7th rounder. You take your priority free agents.
Yeah, true.
In the 7th. You would like to see decent production. You'd like to see more touchdowns for a guy his size. But I'm sure they'll work on that. Okay. I'd say let's rewind and get back into the other picks from today.
Yep.
And the rest of the Broncos draft and how we're feeling. Where do you want to start?
I would just start at the top.
Please?
So first day was Troy Franklin. You mentioned your thoughts a little bit.
Yep.
He's a run after catch guy.
Yeah.
He's a deep threat.
Yes.
Still working on the route running.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you think he does underneath? Like, and going and seeing what other people say, there's a lot of complaints about that.
Sure.
But in that offense, you would think he would be a little more polished.
Pretty electric, I thought, running those slants and those crossers and getting open and taking those for big gains.
Yep.
I do think there's, for his wiry frame and him being undersized, which ultimately is going to be the biggest complaint, and his ability to get off press, I thought his compete level maybe underwhelmed at the top of the route. But then at the end of the route, very competitive at the catch point. And then on top of that, he's got that breakaway speed, which makes him very competitive. And then after the run, very competitive. So that's what I liked. And I thought more consistent hands than some of the other more one-dimensional speedsters and vertical threats in this class.
Very consistent production, too.
And young, man. Super young. Big-time upside for this
100
kid.
receiving yards in 8 of his 12 games this year.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. A touchdown in 10 of 12 games this year.
Very
you love
productive.
that. Winds up finished 6th in the country with 1,300 receiving yards, almost 1,400 receiving yards. 3rd in the country with 14 receiving touchdowns. Like, that is... You usually don't see guys. I mean, I think that's why people expected him to be a first-round pick, a second-round pick, maybe slipping to the 3rd round. Certainly not slipping to the 4th round is because you have that blend of, what is he, 6'2", 6'3", 6'3"?
6'1", I want to say.
Is he only 6'1"?
But he does play taller than that,
He does play taller.
And
he has the blazing fast 40, and he has the production to back it up in a power conference. Like, that's the blend of things that usually makes you a first-round pick.
And young.
And very young.
So, no, 6'2".
6'2"?
6'2", but 176. So, I mean, and ran a 4.4, not a 4.3 or anything crazy like that. But no, I just think he was incredibly productive. And, if that's a 4.38, which, like, we are true,
isn't it crazy?
Hundreds of seconds. Is
also
he
6'2", and a half.
You know, and most of our broadcasts yesterday was us hoping Troy Franklin would drop to the Broncos. Cowboys pick 56, I believe it was. We're like, oh, man, he gets out of this one. But we thought he would have been the favorite to be taken there. So it's not just my rankings. It's not just my podcast with Jake and Justin or how you felt about him. It's really like kind of a consensus in a loaded wide receiver class. You were going to get some good value, but he feels like tremendous value. And he, like Bo Nix and Audric Estimé, the 3 offensive skill position guys, could not have landed in a better place than in Denver. Just being able to say that already feels like, wow. The Sean Payton effect is there.
Yeah. And then we haven't even talked about having the connection with Bo Nix all that much. Like, also, Like, this would be a great pick even without that part.
Right.
To throw that in there. It will be kind of interesting to see how this receiver room shakes out. Because, coming into this draft, I kind of thought you had a number 1 in Cortland Sutton.
Yep.
And you kind of had a few number 3s probably.
Yeah.
And production-wise, you can make a case, maybe a number 4. So is there somebody who can kind of elevate to be that number 2, or even be a number 1? Because if you look at Cortland Sutton's numbers, they're not full-on number 1 receiver numbers at this point. It's just more the play style.
I think he's an elite 2, right?
Yeah, that's what you would think.
In the ideal offense, he's a phenomenal possession outside wide receiver, but he's not your number 1 guy.
Do you think Troy Franklin's redundant with Marvin Mims?
No, and the reason I'm so high on Franklin, who again, factoring in age and breakaway speed, I do think his tippy-top version, where he's maxed out his ceiling, is that of an elite speed outside X number 1 wide receiver, who probably has put on 10 to 15 pounds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because Combine, he's 176. Pro Day, he's 183. If he gets into the 190s, he's good.
183 already is way more comforting than 176.
It almost makes
the height at the Combine?
Combine 6'1" and 7/8. Pro Day 6'2" and 4/8, which is a half. So
what?
He grew and put on 7 pounds.
There should not be a discrepancy
there. No,
there.
there should not. That is just...
Also, in cleats, that is almost 6'3". So there you go, buddy.
Exactly. And then whenever you call another receiver 6'3", he's actually 6'2". So
let me get this out with Troy Franklin so I don't forget. Common theme of this entire draft coming from winning programs. Troy Franklin, Bo Nix, Kris Abrams-Draine. Kris, thank you.
Kadarius or Kris? Tough to say.
Kadarius, that's insane. Where'd that come from? All coming from teams that Audric Estimé won a ton of games.
He sure did.
In their final seasons.
Yep.
All those guys maybe lost less than 10 games combined. And then, Vele and Jonah Ellis, not the best year for Utah, but those guys were in a Rose Bowl just a year ago.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Winning programs as well. Winning programs, a big thing that seem to be what the Broncos were targeting in this.
Definitely.
So, yeah, what a pick. Top 50 player for me in this class.
Yep. Just turned 21 in February. That's how young.
Dude, that's crazy. So
that
much
is
talent.
Crazy. Yeah. I would say it's a really young class, but...
It is.
You throw in Bo Nix and Vele, and then all of a sudden it's not all that young.
100%. Right.
Yeah. Just one more Troy Franklin question. Where does he fit in the rotation? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I think you're probably starting the season as a 4. But I think this is really like Tim Patrick, watch out.
Yeah.
This is your Tim Patrick insurance.
Yeah, definitely.
To me, probably more so than Cortland Sutton. It's maybe more Cortland Sutton long-term insurance, but I do think the way they've shown us they're operating today, the Broncos are far from punting on the 2024 season.
Yeah.
The Broncos are doing their best within the cap constraints and draft capital constraints that they had of building a competitive team for 2024. And I think Brandon Jones, that addition. Franklin Myers today. Going after some of these older prospects while balancing that with more veteran guys, trying to maximize the strengths of the guys you have on the roster, like a Drew Sanders, who now really feels like he should be converted inside, like a Greg Dulcich, who was just a top 100 pick not that long ago.
Kris Abrams-Draine.
Yes, next on down the line. Kris Abrams-Draine.
Early 5th round, smaller cornerback.
22-year senior, very productive on ball.
Exactly.
Because he's a converted wide receiver.
Late converted. Converted late.
No.
Like
as a freshman
year?
at
freshman
Mizzou, he has stats as a receiver. Converts and is part of one of the best defenses in the SEC and the entire country. Is the nickelback or number 2 corner to Ennis Rakestraw. Both those guys go to the Senior Bowl. because of his background as a wide receiver, looks very good in one-on-ones.
Yep.
Twitched up, undersized.
Yep.
And yeah, like very competitive despite that size, which is the biggest knock. Very competitive at the end of the route. Good coverage profile where he's doing it all off, closer to the line of scrimmage, zone, man. His man upside is what makes him so intriguing and made him a top 100 pick, which to me, when I grade you as a top 100 pick, I'm not just saying you're worthy of being drafted in the top three rounds. I'm also saying I project you will be a starter during your rookie contract, which, of course, if you are able to be one of your 22 starters, and, you know, he'll be a starter as a nickelback, so it's 22, 23, wink, wink.
Yeah. How many tight ends you count in the starters?
Right, exactly.
From a fullback, a starter?
I think we would still argue that at the contract you're getting him at, if he is a starter within those first 4 years, you are getting a bargain deal, right? And that's exactly how you build a winning team. So he profiles really well, and what I like about him, Hankster, before I hand the ball over to you, is that his deficiencies are mostly due to inexperience playing on the defensive side of the ball. It's things like better pad level, better on his back pedal, right? It's just refining the technique and not giving away his leverage on that back pedal too early. They're things that with NFL coaching and with more experience playing the corner position, you can refine. There's obviously a bit of a his ceiling is going to be capped because of his size. I don't think he's an outside corner, though certain matchups in the AFC West, a conference that just drafted undersized wide receivers like Ladd McConkey, Xavier Worthy, added Marquise Hollywood Brown in the offseason. I do think you could line him up outside against some of those guys, right? But certainly you wouldn't want to line him up outside against every wide receiver in the AFC West. But I am bullish on him and the value you get of drafting him with an early 5th rounder when I had him strongly graded in the 3rd round.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just to get the numbers out there, undersized, a little over 5'11", 179 pounds at the combine, 183 at the pro day. Put on a couple pounds after running the 40 probably. 4'4", 440. It's plenty of speed, plenty of quickness. He's undersized, but when you look through the numbers, he didn't miss many tackles. He was just fine. Now, the question is, now that you're playing NFL running backs, does that change? But that didn't seem to hold him back at all.
And that's with a guy who's kind of new to tackling, right?
Yeah, true.
So I think that's really encouraging, and just overall super impressed with his compete level in all phases of the game. So I just, this guy's a dog.
Very, very impressive breaking back on the ball. Super quick. Led the SEC in pass breakups. 4 picks this year. No picks last year. 3 picks the year before. Second team All-American. Like that productive. I wonder.
That Mizzou defense, man. They put the whole country on notice. They were no joke. And he was one of the 2-3 stars, one of the 2 or 3 All-American candidates on that defense.
And I'm curious. It's interesting that he is seen as more of a slot corner, because not only do you have Jaquan McMillan, who is a slot guy, you also have Riley Moss, who also is a bit of a slot player. When we saw him last year, he was getting 4 or 5 snaps a game for the final 3 quarters of the season or so as your dime, playing in the nickel spot, the dime spot. So
could PJ Locke play in that spot from
which
time
is where
to time?
he's at his best.
Now
JL
look,
Skinner, if he winds up ever getting on the field, he's in that spot.
Now that's an important position in modern football.
It is.
And a position where you want options, especially when you're dealing with the Chiefs and so on and so forth.
It is a strange dynamic, though, because you got so many of those guys.
I
would have thought if you were to add a cornerback, you would find one who's at least 6 feet tall, because You don't really have one of those in the competition, but I guess maybe they have a type.
But 5'11" with 31-inch arms, that is pretty good length.
True.
And again, we've talked about the compete, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a guy who already has experience as being the number 2 guy, which I really like. I always think my ideal number 2 is the late great Darren Williams, right? Who had to be thrown to the fire, playing opposite the great Champ Bailey in his prime. And his compete level, the dog in him, the not being deterred when he'd get beat, because you are going to get beat. I mean, shit, it's not like PS2 is going to shut down one side and we're just never going to allow completion again, right? Someone is going to give up yards eventually. So, no, I really, really love that pick.
Michael Pratt just went to the Packers, by the way.
Michael Pratt to the Packers. What a classic.
Yeah.
What a classic. Let's get into some of these other picks. Those are the 2 big winners. But first, I do want to tell you about this awesome deal we've got going on with Pub Pass. Download the app, Pub Pass, and use our code DNVR for 50% off. It's an awesome deal because this app is perfect for beer lovers. You get our special hookup, and you can see all the pubs in the greater Denver metro area, all the great deals they've got going on. And, you know, in any given day, buy one, get one free deals, $1 beers, even free beers at more than 300 breweries across the Denver area. And if you're in Denver, you're going to want to hit up a brewery. You're going to want to go get some good eats, try some good microbrews, craft beers, do the whole shebang. I just had some people in town. I really wish I had the Pub Pass app right then and there, because that's all they wanted to do. And for just $5 a month, Pub Pass pays for itself when you use it just the first time. It's a no-brainer. It's a great app, super easy to use, super convenient. You've got that map there, all the pubs around you. It's fantastic. DNVR fans can get a year subscription for half off using promo code DNVR. That's a year of access to the best craft beer app in the country for about $2 a month. Crazy. Download Pub Pass now in the App Store or Google Play Store and use code DNVR when you sign up. And of course, a shout out to Bet365. Nuggets about to go off here soon. Time to get some bets out for this Nugs game. Time to sign up for the Bet365 app using our code DNVR365. And if you do that, you got to get on the special 6-week prize bonanza, we are calling it, for Bet365. That's off the noggin right now, Hank. Where right now you send us an email showing us you signed up using our code at promo@dnvr.com. You're eligible to win DNVR swag and gear this week, next week, this week, T-shirts, hats next week, hoodies, sweatshirts, and then big prizes if you participate with us every step of the way. I won big money on draft props, and I'm about to win big money on some futures here soon. Head to thednvr.com/bet365 to get more information. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Audric Estimé?
Yes, please.
First of all, he's awesome.
He is awesome.
When you want to go back and watch,
start with the specs. That's the big part of his combo.
There's a lot of big parts of that man. Let's see. He is 5'11" and 3/8", so just under 6 foot. Came in at the combine at 221, pro day at 222. 40-yard dash, not so great. 4.71 at the combine, which is why he slipped and was on the board when the Broncos wanted him. 4.61 at his pro day, though, which is much better.
I even saw 4.56.
He said 4.56.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Which...
No, that's a fair distinction. It's a fair distinction.
I'll go with Dane Brugler. But no, he is a monster. He is an absolute monster.
He is.
1341 rushing yards this year. 6.4 yards per carry this year.
Yeah.
Still only 20. We mentioned that.
Yeah,
but
super young.
He is just an absolute bulldozer. He tramples over everybody. The vision there is also pretty crazy. Like, there's some plays you look at where there's like pullers coming across and he's just bang right through the hole. The long speed
Great vision and balance.
Absolutely.
And then the finishing ability at the end of the run is really awesome.
Absolutely. But then
The
even
long speed is undoubtedly what we should talk about.
But the long speed, though.
Initial burst, also fantastic.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is he's quick and he goes forward. He just doesn't hit the home runs very often.
Yep.
At the same time, though, I feel like if you're a running back, there's only a handful of times a year that long speed is going to give you a touchdown, you know? And the other 150 carries or whatever it may be, 100 carries, it doesn't really come up, you know?
No, and long speed only matters to the extent of, do you have the other things Audric Estimé does possess?
Exactly.
Then that long speed can be quite dangerous. But if you don't, it's kind of irrelevant. And we shouldn't have to explain to Broncos fans how, you know, a slow 40 for a running back can be quite deceiving. As, of course, you know, Hall of Famer Terrell Davis could attest to, or even, you know, Broncos greats like Mike Anderson could. And I'm sure I'm forgetting, you know, 4 or 5 other greats who didn't have the great long speed and are also Super Bowl champions, the great Broncos. He was my 5th ranked running back. He really burst onto the stage early on into the season. I was super impressed of what he was able to do against that Ohio State front. I think week 4 or 5. That, of course, is loaded with front 7 NFL players. I thought there was some huge upside to his receiving ability as well, Hank, which is where I think he could really unlock some stuff.
Because he has the pass protection already.
Correct. So his third down value is easy to see, as is his short yardage value and his red zone value because of that size. And the age and the fact that he just checks off all those factors gives him some real upside as well. And like Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, I already alluded to it, he's landed in a spot that you say, perfect landing spot.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he's getting to compete and be part of a young offensive core that's kind of building out, and Sean Payton can't get better than that. He was a borderline top 100 guy for me. I can say for certainty he's a rotation player in the way I evaluated him coming out of the draft. I wouldn't say in all certainty he's a set-and-forget starter, but I certainly do see upside as a 3-down back in the right offense. But I don't think in any offense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just an absolute freak, though. I mean, like, he is so big. He's explosive going forward. That 1.58 split in the 40 is awesome.
That's incredible. Honestly, that's incredible. And isn't that all that matters for a running back?
90% of the time, yes.
Like, the
for
40's
example,
really like
Marshawn Lloyd 1.6, Jalen Wright 1.56, just a tick ahead.
That's crazy that he's right there with Jalen Wright.
1.55 Trey Benson, 1.59 Blake Corum. So you have those measurables there, but
I want Leonard Taylor as well, JJ McRae in the Toyota chat.
Also a 38-inch vertical. 10.5 broad jump.
Explosive.
He's under 6 feet tall, and he could dunk when he was 12.
Whoa.
Like, this is a monster athlete who ran for 1,300 yards. And I totally agree. I mean,
and there was just really nice value in day 3 for running back.
There was.
And you were able to get the one guy I had left ranked in the top 5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do think that early on you have to... I'm curious what the role will be. You know, it's going to be a lot of short yardage stuff. It's goal lines, it's 3rd and shorts. Where he expands from there is interesting because, like you said, he has the pass protection ability, which makes him an easy play on 3rd downs. Because as much as, like, you would love to have a speed guy, get the ball to, let him make a play.
Yeah.
You leave him in there in pass protection, let him leak out if there's nothing to do. Like, that
Look
is
how
a nice
valuable
start.
Samaje Perine was last year.
And so playing behind Samaje Perine this year, you hope that he learns something from that.
And it's Javonte Williams insurance, let's be honest.
Exactly.
Much like Troy Franklin is immediate Tim Patrick and long-term Cortland Sutton insurance.
Yep. And that's why I think you then start building into, like, 1st and 10, there's no reason you can't come out and eye for him. And that's where he gets really interesting, because then that becomes almost like an identity piece. It's like, this is a neutral situation right here. We think that we can go heavy, and he's going to get us enough that we can just build off of this. You know, it's 2nd and 4. We just want to beat you down.
Right.
We're just going to run and pick this up. And so that's where if he is productive in the short yardage, you can start building this into the normal offense. The single back stuff, if you want, could be there, but that just kind of comes down the line because early on in the season, you're going to be giving touches to all these different guys and the areas you think they will succeed.
Yeah.
And 3-4 weeks in, after you give each of them, they're 7, 8, whatever a game, you see who's putting up 3 yards a carry, who's put up 8 yards a carry. And then you start building, you start shifting. And so I really like this combination of 4 backs because they all have slightly different strengths, but I don't think any of them has a limitation that would mean they're unplayable in any situation. Maybe Jaleel at the goal line isn't great, but other than that, I mean, you could play him out of single back. If you could play him, you could play him third downs, and that's the one thing. So
yeah, short yardage, but
you get to go into the season and see is Javonte Williams still a 3.6 yard per carry rusher? Because if he is, those touches need to decrease. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think he'll play fullback a lot?
No. I just don't think there's a need. Like, you have Michael Burton. Like, you could go 2-back if you wanted. Like, if you wanted, like, split out a shotgun, you could probably have him, like, lead the way on a couple runs out of that. There's a lot of different things that you could do, and Sean Payton's willing to do all of them.
It's a good question with the big back. I don't think that's the vision with Estimé.
Yeah, I agree.
Though it certainly is the vision with some of the other guys on the roster, starting with Burton.
4.27 yards after contact per carry.
Yeah.
That's third in FBS football last year.
Breaks a lot of tackles.
4.27 after contact. Remember, Javonte Williams had 3.6 total.
He breaks a lot of tackles, man. He started the season off hot, cooled off a little in the middle where I think he was maybe beat up, and then really had a strong finish to the season. And, I mean, he's definitely getting drafted in the top 3 rounds if he just gives you that mid 4.5.
Exactly.
Or even low 4.6 that he did in the pro day.
Yeah.
And how much does that matter when really the far more important data point is that 10-yard split and that initial burst and the vertical leap? And then what do you do when you can unlock, if you can, that receiving ability?
Yep.
And then I think he really has the upside to be not just a starting back, but a high-end starting back.
I mean, it's easy to see how. Like, if he's just running over guys the way it looks like he could, he's a starter.
No, I'm bullish on him, and I was high a lot of draft season. He's a guy who we talked about a lot on the draft pod, just like Troy Franklin. So, I mean, it's just fun, man. It's just fun when you're able to get guys like that. Who am I forgetting?
A great fit with that offense.
Phenomenal
that offensive
fit.
line,
phenomenal fit.
You can
and
just
now
be so nasty.
Devaughn Vele, they've gotten a lot of skill players.
True.
And
which they needed.
I was just watching some highlights of his. Yeah, he's a good possession wide receiver, a big weapon that you can have on the outside. It's surprising to see not more Yak, but that's why he's not a bigger name. He has been decently productive. Honestly, he reminds me of Tim Patrick, but he checks off different boxes. Patrick had more of the long speed. He has more of the size and possession stuff.
Yeah.
And, if you can unlock some red zone stuff, he might be a fun weapon.
Definitely.
Hank, I've got this feeling I'm forgetting someone that the Broncos have drafted.
Not that they've drafted, but they did make a trade.
Oh, there you are. Yep. And I think we're both high on the veteran Jonah Franklin Myers. I kind of feel like Jonathan.
If you want. I mean, I'm sure it's Jonathan.
I thought it was Jonathan I saw online. I'll give myself that. He was a little hotter at the start of the Salah tenure with the Jets, 21-22.
Yep.
I think the stocks cooled off a little bit, but that's nice, as you mentioned, that they could restructure. They're not paying him what his value was back then. They're paying him what his value is now.
Yep.
It feels like a nice buy low on a veteran who is still just 27.
Yep.
We talked a lot about how Jonah Ellis didn't necessarily fill that Jonathan Cooper edge role of the bigger run defender. I think he certainly does that at the bare minimum. And then what he brings you as an interior pass rusher in, odd man fronts, as a 3 technique and nickel, as a 4-eye from time to time, as a 5 technique, and then out wide is very intriguing. I think him and Jonah Ellis both fit kind of that need, like Todd was talking about on the live yesterday, of being more that interior rusher in NASCAR fronts. So I think it allows you to do a lot, and I think he's the one edge guy in a 4-man rotation now with Roach, who you feel with you don't have to sacrifice some run defense right now at present because he's not young, he's more of a vet. but still can give you some value as a pass rusher. So, I mean, just what the doctor ordered, and you just have to give up a future six rounder, and it's a contract restructure that you can very much stomach at a position that you are needy.
Yep, absolutely. Just a little perspective in terms of what he is. So
actually, give us that on the other side here, and then I want to get into the top 5 here.
Yeah, we got John Franklin Myers, then we got another pick and 5 picks.
I know.
We got a lot to get to.
We, of course, are coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge here, where we hope some history is made soon. History has been made here with this Broncos draft. I feel good about this draft. I also think we need to get to some draft grades here in a second.
Yo.
So lots to uncover, but that's all thanks to Toyota, where, your front range Toyota stores, they've been an amazing partner. They are the Colorado car and truck. I think the Broncos have been able to get themselves a real forerunner. You, of course, one of the Toyota guys on our staff. Mm-hmm. You've had a trusty Toyota for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love those.
Yeah. No, totally. And we talked about how Bo Nix is the forerunner of this draft class.
He is the forerunner, isn't he? What a forerunner. What is Audric Estimé?
Oh, man. Is he one of the great...
They can't all be forerunners.
...array of Toyota trucks or SUVs?
Yeah.
He certainly is
an
this.
SUV.
Could it be this Toyota truck I have right in front of me?
I think he's more of an SUV guy to me.
Yeah,
he has more weight to him.
Fair enough. More complete, too. He might just be a forerunner. Did the Broncos get 2 forerunners in their backfield? Man,
Whoa.
I would not want to be opposing teams. They did kind of bring an edge, like, we'll beat you up, Chiefs. They're doing the Harbaugh thing. They're leaning into that power offense. I love it.
Ooh, like a Land Cruiser?
Yes. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Crown and Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota, Easton Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, an official automotive partner of the NFL. Toyota, baby. Do your thing. And, of course, Breck Brew. We enjoyed some Breck Brews last night. Had a nice little good company. Yes. I've been at the farmhouse, of course, for our draft party, and then the next day for lunch. Gourmet food. You got to try it out. Their stuff is so good, man. And, I mean, there's always a time and a season for a delicious, tasty Breck Brew. They are the official craft beer of the DNVR. Try their Amber Ale, Mile High City, that's the Nuggets one, the Fun Slinger, and Good Company, which is what I'm rocking these days. Check out the Breck Brew beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. Okay, Hank, we've got a lot to cover. Where do you want to start? Draft grades?
John Franklin Myers. He's
oh, there you go. Yeah, John Franklin Myers.
He's an interesting one. So he had 50 pressures last year, 50 total pressures.
Love it.
He did it playing 626 snaps. If you look at the Broncos, Zach Allen had the most pressures, 60 pressures, 913 snaps. Jonathan Cooper, 55 pressures, 836. Nick Benito, 47, 524.
They needed a guy like this.
So you have somebody who can give you
We're just 2 picks away. Amazing.
Oh, yeah, we're getting real close here.
And none of the guys we mentioned for the last pick have gone, except for James Williams.
Each of the past 4 years, at least 50 pressures from John Franklin Myers. And in general, he's probably a better run defender than pass rusher. And so he, to me, is just like this great X factor. He's like a 5 technique, 3 technique in your base defense.
Yep.
In rush situations, he's an interior rusher. It's him and Zach Allen
and
there.
And that's so valuable.
Oh, yeah,
man.
and it's exactly what they needed because it frees you up to just make Malcolm Roach a run defender. You can take DJ Jones off the field in those situations so that he can be more well-rested for the other times because no defensive lineman's on the field for every snap.
Yes.
So you just have these rotational pieces that make sense. Then on top of that, where I think the real X factor with the value is when you go nickel on a first down. When the other team's out there with 3 receivers, you know you need to go nickel, and you put him as your defensive end. Because I do think that is probably where he's at his best, is when you just get to play him on the boundary, on the edge. but it isn't like a true pass rush situation, because in that situation he just doesn't quite give you enough juice. He's 288 pounds. Like, that's just not really his game. But being able to put him out there in those situations, it frees you up, because Drew Sanders is out there. You feel a little bit light. You know, Nick Bonito, you feel very light. Jonathan Cooper fits that well, but he actually still is pretty light for that role.
Jonah
he just plays
Ellis
it well.
Also a little light.
Very
right
light,
now.
yes.
I mean, frankly, Estimé aside, that's and Bo Nix aside, it's a theme of this draft class is a bit undersized.
Yep.
Athletic, productive, great college programs, a smidge undersized.
Yep.
And, you know, one of the notes I have is a theme of this draft for the Broncos is becoming more modern and bigger emphasis on QB2. 66 quarterbacks started at least a game last year in the NFL. And, I mean, it's never been more important than ever. Guys like Aiden O'Connell, I think, are more important. It's why you pick up Zach Wilson as well. And then edge rotation. I mean, that's the San Francisco Niners mold, right? That's the Spagnuolo Chiefs mold. The more guys you have to rotate, the better it is. So, yeah, that's I think that's a really good breakdown. Hank, let's do it. Bet365 top 5, our 5 favorite Broncos picks thus far.
Yeah. Want to do like 2 seconds? Who would you pick here?
Yes.
Two teams before the Broncos. I think Curtis Jacobs, the linebacker, sitting there all day. I don't know
Penn
why.
State.
You get to the point where you're just like, there must be some major flaw here that I'm missing.
Yes.
But assuming that isn't the case, I would have drafted him last round. Last pick at least, and if you had a 6th-round pick, easily. Gabriel Murphy, we mentioned. You don't really need an edge rusher at this point.
No,
but
there are some good ones still on the board.
I like Braden McGregor. I just don't think you can justify it unless you're moving on from a Jonathan Cooper or Baron Browning. That seems like a lot of work, though.
And
Leonard Taylor.
Some big men, Kingsley Ekuban, Drake Nugent, the 2 centers, Florida and Michigan.
Center's tough this time,
Leonard Taylor, the big nose tackle from Miami. I mean, he was projected to go high. Broncos are on the clock officially. Kalen King, the Penn State corner, ran really slowly. It was just selected by the Packers.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I want to see if there's any... Dallin Holker or the Minnesota tight end would be intriguing.
Yeah.
Gabe Hall, interior pass rusher, I think would be intriguing. There's a lot of edges here.
I know.
Which we feel like they're set. Leonard Taylor's a guy I would really love.
Especially because, you look through the rotation and you like
Curtis
it.
Jacobs, there's definitely something wrong that I am missing.
There's something horrible that nobody knew.
McCaffrey went 100th overall, last pick of the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Derek in the Toyota chat. James asking, okay, add some D. All right.
Any second here. Technically, I guess they could
Henry, I
wait
think we should start with this
minutes.
top 5, yeah?
We can. We
we got to be done by 5:15, right?
Oh.
We were told until 5:20. I love
okay.
it. We really don't have this pick yet?
It's any second.
And this, it's a priority free agent of sorts. Now, talking about this edge room reminded me that Thomas Incoom is still here.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
Oh, me too.
The undrafted free agent, Nate Atkins, still here. The undrafted free agent from South Carolina.
Thomas Incoom is like...
Lucas Kroll, people in the chat, like Jose are high on him.
Thomas Incoom is a dog. Like, he is the most high-energy person. Like, I remember... We were doing like the top 100 voting.
He was
filling
awesome.
out his ballot, and I was
Could
just like,
he play inside?
No, he's not big enough, I don't think. But no, he was saying like, I'm filling this out now, but next year I'm going to be voting for myself.
Dude.
Next year I'm going to be on here.
I love that.
No, he's awesome. He's like high
working
energy,
on his
like
pass
great
rush
attitude.
rooms.
Like
Sky's the limit.
We really liked him.
He's so great.
But I don't even know that he has a path to the roster anymore. Like you're just full there.
Well, if Drew moves.
If Drew goes inside, that would be how you do it.
And Franklin's more part of the interior rotation.
But like we said,
Franklin Myers, that
there
is.
There will be snaps out there.
There will be.
And those are
Henry,
give
it to me. Come on.
I'm kind of surprised. I don't know.
Yeah, they might be trading out of this,
Nobody's trading for
kids.
this pick.
They might be trading out of this. I also think there's going to be lots of options in the UDFA
Nick
camp.
Gargulo.
Nick Gargulo, give us
Al
more.
from South Carolina.
Okay, the South Carolina offensive guard, I want to say. Nick Gargulo here. What? Center Nick Gargulo from South Carolina. So they get their center a bit off the board for me on this one. But they've gone with another guy from a Power 5 program. And again, I mean, picks like this in the 7th round, these are priority free agents. I fully expect they will sign a few priority undrafted free agents who I like better than this pick. But there's Gargulo, and from what Yaya's telling us, he was drafted as a center. So those of you asking, can he play center? It sounds like that is very much the plan. I hope that maybe Drake Nugent, as a local kid, they could have an inside track.
He was a little light.
As the undrafted free agents. Yeah, maybe of a zone blocking guy, but, you know, he is coming from a power scheme.
True.
He's a transfer graduate from Yale. Started games at center, guard, and tackle over the course of his 5-year career. So he's kind of versatile. But they have him listed as center here, so it kind of means that the Broncos are looking at him that way.
It's nice. I mean, they kind of had a last hole to fill. I also think this is a big dub for that tight end room, man.
Yeah.
Troutman, Kroll, Atkins,
which is crazy.
Greg Dulcich. Those guys are all hyped on this one.
They should be hyped. I wouldn't be surprised if they sign one. Like, definitely they'll sign like an undrafted guy, but they might even sign like another. Because I really thought I'm a Nate Atkins guy. If he's a practice squad guy, not a roster guy, nobody's going to be surprised.
No.
Lucas Kroll is behind him even, and so it's kind of that same deal. So I did think a playmaker there would be nice, but as of now at least, they're betting on Greg Dulcich.
Well, and who knows? Could you sign a Dallin Holker, again, local connection, as an undrafted free agent to add competition there?
So he transferred in, right?
He did, from BYU. He's an older guy.
Okay, is he originally from Colorado?
I believe he's a Utah man. Couldn't say for certain.
So that still counts as pretty local.
Yeah. Brent Kuthi, a former Utah tight end.
Oh.
He was a freshman phenom, and then injuries have limited him.
I thought he was better than Kincaid.
Yeah, he might be a really good fullback, honestly. Frank Crum, Wyoming offensive tackle, might be a really nice pickup.
Yep.
Wyoming also has a nice linebacker. They've been good at churning out linebackers. Easton Gibbs, who might be a nice pickup. I mean, Curtis Jacobs, Leonard Taylor, Drake Nugent. These are all guys you could see addressed in the UDFAs.
Yep.
You'll be able to talk about this on the pod.
Yep.
I'll be able to get into draft grades with the draft pod guys. Let's do this Bet365 top 5 before we need to hand over the studio to the Nuggets guys. Your favorite draft pick from the Broncos. Let's go first overall. Who are you going with, Hank?
It's a tough one.
Nick Gargulo?
Estimé might be my favorite.
For me, it's Troy Franklin. Kind of a no-brainer.
That's a good one, too. I think where do you put Bo Nix is the toughest part.
Yes.
Because he was not my favorite pick, but having seen the rest of it, without Bo Nix, the season would be far less interesting, far less exciting.
Bo Nix has to be top 3. Can we go Troy Franklin, Bo Nix, Audric Estimé, 1, 2, 3?
I think Bo Nix is number 1.
Bo Nix number 1.
Yeah.
Just because of what it means.
What it means and like it.
And I get to watch tape and think like, oh man, just like when I was rewatching tape of Mahomes and being like, what did I miss? That Andy Reid scene.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing with Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And it is my favorite in that sense.
Yep.
In the intellectual stimulation it gives. Let's go Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Then let's go Troy Franklin. That's a package deal, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Then estimate definitely 3.
Okay. I like it. Oh, man. And Nelson Caesar, the Houston edge rusher, is Mr. Irrelevant for the Seahawks here.
I
think KAD after Audric Estimé would be
not
next.
Jonah Ellis.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
No.
It's a weird fit, but that...
No, I
12 sacks.
love the culture fit. I love the premium position.
I think it is those two in
they're
some
both
order.
kind of
It
like...
obviously is, yeah.
They're both not gadget, but like more unique roles, right? Like Ellis early on is going to be an edge, but also moonlight as an important nickel formation, interior rusher, and NASCAR formation guy. And KAD is going to be a special teamer and nickel back and sub package DB.
It's just tough to see him on the field.
Who's going to help you. So there you go. Let's go Ellis and then KAD.
I like it.
And I'm really excited for the undrafted free agents.
Yeah, me too.
I think they get at least one guy who we're hyped about.
Yep, definitely.
Because this is a roster with like carte blanche.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of ways you can go. There's a lot of opportunity. And I can't wait to get into some Devaughn Vele and Gargulo tape as well. So there you go. Anything else? Any closing notes here, Henry?
Nope. I'm good.
Broncos grade?
A. They did great.
It's an A- for me. You only had 2 top 100 picks. You end up with 4 top 100 guys and a borderline top 100 guy in Estimé for me.
Yeah.
And you have 2 top 50 guys when you only had 1 top 50 pick. It would be an A++ if they got, for my board, top 15 value with their 1 top 15 pick.
True.
But, you know, Bo Nix is, he was still a highly graded guy, a top 50 guy for me. But I'm going to defer to Sean Payton on that one, and it will ultimately be all about Bo Nix in this draft.
Yeah.
Bo Nix hits, it's an A++++.
Oh, yeah.
Bo Nix doesn't hit, even if they did get 3 future starters in the draft, its heads are going to roll, and it's going to look rough. So I can't wait for you guys to dig into it all the rest of the way and us to dig into it all on the Draft Pod. Thank you so much to Raising Cane's, Breckenridge Distillery for bringing all our draft content. And thank you to Big Yaya behind the sticks. Yaya, up the pids. Up the pids, baby. Go Broncos. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.